of the creation of the Bretton Woods institutions, including the IMF and the World Bank, and subsequently Asian Development Bank, was to basically bring political stability. Because in the interwar years between the First World War and Second World War, it was realized that if countries have disturbed economies, then there is disturbed politics. And disturbed politics gives way to political polarization, it creates wars, it creates conflicts. That was the principal purpose. So we are here to just remind the top management of the International Monetary Fund that you have certain responsibilities, which is part of your own constitution and raison d'etre of your creation, that you have to ensure political stability. And in country of Pakistan, what has happened on 8 February 2024 is not that an election has been rigged in the usual way that keeps on happening across the developing world. In Pakistan, an election has been stolen. The Form 45 are the actual results of the election. They are not exit polls in a Western way. These are the final results of an election of every polling station, and they have not been collected, tabulated, organized in the form of an election result. And all what we are demanding, and all what the Pakistani community is demanding all across the world, within Pakistan and all across the world, is that the IMF should tell the regime in Pakistan to do the scrutiny of the election. They can just pick up 10-15 constituencies. I mean, pick up the constituencies in Lahore of Salman Akbar Raja, pick up the constituencies, the 3 constituencies in Islamabad, and basically pick up 1 or 2 constituencies of Taimur Jhagda in Peshawar. So these are the constituencies. You just have to demand. IMF has huge power and stranglehold on the current regime in Pakistan. All what they have to tell them behind the scene, that we are concerned about the results, about the allegations of election stealing. And this is not that just a few people, 50 people, 60 people standing somewhere are saying this. All what they have to look at the most prestigious and credible publications of the world. Look at The Economist of London. There is no other publication that has more credibility when it comes to economic matters than The Economist of London. There is no more prestigious newspaper in the world like New York Times, like Washington Post, like Financial Times from the Europe. All these publications have documented and reported that the Pakistani election has been massively rigged. We believe it has actually been stolen from the people of Pakistan. United States stands for democracy. IMF is to ensure the democracy in the world. That is why it is important that IMF should, even behind the scenes, tell the military rulers and regime in Pakistan to basically account for the elections. If a regime in Pakistan is a fake regime, is a stolen regime, it has no acceptability, it has no political legitimacy, how can IMF keep on giving billions of dollars to a stolen regime, to a fake government? Who is responsible for these funds? These funds are not being given to the Sharif Zardari regime. These funds are ultimately being given to the people of Pakistan. It's a poor country of 240 to 250 million people, and they are responsible for returning these funds. So this is what the IMF responsibility is, and this is why, as a journalist, I think that IMF has to look into it, what's really happening in Pakistan, and it has an important responsibility. Now, this is not something which we are creating out of the box. Is it not true that in 2018, when the elections in Venezuela were not considered fair, when United States, UK and so many other countries objected to the form of the elections in Venezuela of Nicolas Maduro government, then the IMF did not give them the money, because when they came and they had paid every penny back, the government of Hugo Chavez had returned all IMF funds back. But the IMF, when they came to ask them in the pandemic during 2020, the IMF told them, since your elections are not legitimate, since major democracies have not really ascertained your elections, we can't give you the $4 to $5 billion. So is IMF ready to give money to Afghan Taliban? Is IMF ready to give money to North Korea? Is IMF ready to give money to Iran? So IMF has its responsibilities. We are not inventing a fantasy or a fiction that IMF has its responsibilities. And IMF in the past has lived up to its expectations. So why not in case of Pakistan? Why support dictatorship, tyranny and a stolen election in Pakistan? This is why we are here, and we are not saying that IMF should not give the funds to Pakistan. Of course IMF should give the funds to Pakistan, but since it's giving funds to Pakistan in a program, in a process, it has a responsibility to demand scrutiny and accountability of the election process. Thank you.